Hello all, I'm Reese Waugh, and I am the founder of Paws Training Academy. And I wanted to go over some animal behavior basics with you today. So let's go ahead and start. The product of an animal's behavior is dependent on three main things: the genetic composition of the animal, the environment in which the animal functions, the animal's experience. So the biggest thing in genetic composition is some dogs are bred for things specifically, so they tend to their behavior tends to reflect that. And the environment in which the animal functions is generally the environment in which the animal grows up in or has been familiar with. It's partially why in socialization you try to familiarize with every environment and every object you can, so in the future it is not a big surprise when they encounter that object or person or whatever it seems to be. Like some rural dogs have problems when they are moved to more urban areas, and some urban areas dogs have issues when they're more moved to more rural areas because it's just not the environment they grew up in and were used to. So they have a pretty decent adjustment period. So rural dogs may be used to cows and being free range, and then when they move to the urban cities, they could be less familiar with leash basics and cars and traffic and crowds potentially. And then it also works the other way around, where urban dogs may be more familiar with traffic or large buildings or grates on the ground. And then when they're in a more rural environment with like cows or chickens, they may see a change in behavior or a just a big reaction to things that were unfamiliar to them. Genetic composition is not too complicated. I mean, some dogs are bred for certain things, or hunting dogs, pointing dogs, herding dogs, guiding dogs. Some dogs for guarding are bred to be more anxious. That's partially why they show more aggression occasionally, is because they are more anxious of things around them, which in some cases can be avoided with proper socialization. But you also have to be careful that you're not breeding intentionally aggressive dogs, because there is a genetic component to that. But dogs have developed those genetic specialties or behaviors because we bred them for that specific thing. So we picked them out of the groups because they had that behavior or that look, and then we bred them continually to exhibit that behavior or look. So that is also something you should be aware with animal behavior. You run into things like healers that are known for like snapping at things, trying to herd them. And then dogs like golden retrievers, known for retrieving things. Being aware of that is essential for any animal behaviorist. The environment in which the animal functions and the animal's experience is extremely important, especially with service animals and working animals. Socialization is one of the biggest things that can avoid earlier development of reactivity, aggression, anxiety. So proper socialization is one of the biggest things that can help avoid potential not great behaviors in the future. So the prenatal and postnatal environment through the primary socialization period is important. So a lot of what dogs learn on, like biting softly versus biting down hard, or play dynamics between other animals, they learned from their litter at a young age. So those early socialization is a lot of like sibling dynamics, just how other dogs play, biting, like inhibition, stuff like that are generally early socialization. And then critical socialization is generally socialization with the things around you, like different types of people, different types of cars, different surfaces to walk on, different noises, different animals, and just getting them used to that. So when they are older, they don't have a big reaction to something because they've never seen it, or they had a bad experience with it. But socialization is primarily how most people avoid having issues for it later on with things, because if you socialize them when they're earlier, they are less likely to have reactivity issues later on, which will be harder to address than the early socialization. Then there are the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, which are just the 5 basic needs of animals in general when you keep them captive. That when their needs aren't fully met, they have issues both physically and behaviorally, sometimes with even health issues. A lot of rescues primarily work on the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, to rescue dogs from situations where their needs are not fully met and where they are not thriving as individuals, and they then try to work on getting them to a place where they will thrive as an individual in the future in a home or some other shelter or rescue. Behavioral problems are one of the number 1 reasons that owners will relinquish their dogs or euthanize their dogs. Things like reactivity, aggression, anxiety, those things are the primary reason that people either relinquish their dogs to shelters or try to adopt them out. But some of those things need to be fixed through training and won't be fixed through changing of owners, like separation anxiety. But behavioral problems can decrease owners' commitment to pet care. So it really can be heavy on the bond. It's really hard when you really love your dog, you really love your cat or whatever, but they're biting your significant other, or they're peeing where they shouldn't be, or they're running away, or they're being aggressive, because those are hard things just in general. So behavioral services is really important in pet care, even with veterinarians. Behavior screening can be used to detect early behavior changes, but you want to make sure the questions are standardized and cover all topics, so you can allow data to be compared, so you can potentially detect a more severe event before it happens. So we would have less euthanasia due to aggression issues if you would address it earlier when it is easier to address. And that is all for today. I'm sorry, this is just the essentials of dog behavior, just the basics for now. And I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'll have more out of these on here, and should be in about a week.